Hi guys. I'm very surprised that there are so many of you at this which makes it for a pretty interesting presentation. I was thinking that it's 4:30, everybody retired, so I rather than like going very in depth in the topic, I'll just go for like overall and leave you with one thought that will leave for the end of my talk. We're going to talk about Web3 gaming, but like out of our crypto bubble, like the Degen bubble, and I'm trying to focus on how the mainstream views blockchain gaming, Web3 gaming, whatever you want to call it. But there's some things, some words about me. I work at G2A. I also worked at Outlier Ventures when I was like consulting different kind of startups there, mostly gaming and entertainment. What I'm going to present to you is like based on either the accelerator, like my experience from the accelerator, or researching mainstream gaming. So I was here last year. Somebody went to my talk last year? Anybody? There's one person. Great. So I made some points, some thoughts that I think came true. Maybe of some I didn't want to come true, but like they did. Either way, I think like we went through a period of being very bullish into crypto gaming, to a period when it's pretty hard to like either manage a studio, or you have to pivot, or you have to go the other way around, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to build a little bit on this, like the state of the gaming industry I did last year, and going to like tell you a little bit about how mainstream, in my opinion, and according to my research, views our space, basically. For the purpose of this presentation, I prepared like a little bit of a distinction. So we have Web 2.5 gaming. So you can download these games even on App Store. Some of them are pretty huge, like NFT Rivals. If you don't know this, like you should definitely research it. You don't have to use crypto for that. Like crypto is an add-on that you can use, but you don't have to. The other thing is Web3 gaming. So this is like the digital things, like on-chain gaming, aka autonomous worlds. Highly recommended if you're a researcher, if you're dabbling in the gaming, especially like on-chain gaming, autonomous worlds, highly recommended. Research-wise, business-wise, currently it's a pretty niche thing, but in terms of like technology, things like all the physics and rules being on chain, I think currently in the September 2023, it's the most interesting thing for researchers to dig on. And there's the third thing. So it's like mainstream that's interested in Web3. So we have like Gree, we have Square Enix, we have Zynga, and we have like Avalanche playing like also with mainstream. We have CCP games. And what I'm going to like show you and like discuss a little bit more about is that the third thing. So I think everybody here are familiar with like gaming in terms of like the crypto thing, but like how the mainstream gaming, how much mainstream media like views us. And I have like two parts of this presentation. And the first one is media versus the analyst. So by media, I mean the traditional media. So if you read Kotaku, if you read Polygon, what I did was like scan my RSS feed. You see here, I still use RSS. So this is like, I'm pretty old in terms of like gathering my information. And this was like, I did a scan like during and after Gamescom. So like the biggest gaming conference in the world. Like, there has to be some things about blockchain gaming in the mainstream press. As you can see, there's Baldur's Gate, there's like Xboxing, there's Destiny 2. Where is blockchain gaming? Like, was it like non-existent? And there are some people who were at Gamescom, like here, so you can talk to them. That wasn't the case. I'm going to also to like make more points about it later. But like, what's pretty interesting for me is like the whole narrative, the negative narrative, the media, the classic media have, and like I think my favorite piece of news was the Square Enix one. So like, if you want to look at an example of how bad journalism is currently in regards to crypto gaming, this is the pinnacle of like bad moth in crypto. Like the whole thing, the whole thing about like Square Enix entering the space, selling some of their IPs like Tomb Raider, and apparently turning into crypto and NFT venture was not very welcomed by the traditional press. And I'm pretty much surprised because like gaming for me is always about looking for something new, experimenting and like encouraging, but we'll also get back to that. And the other thing is, so the research layer. I don't know if you folks are familiar with either Deconstruction of Fun or Navik, or even Superused. He's a great researcher, a gaming research analyst. And these are not media sites. These are traditional research companies or groups even that they analyze gaming as such in a like more general way. And what struck me very much here is that you can see, I think this was, I've taken the screenshots like a week ago, and you see that despite the fact that there's so much happening in a traditional space, they are managing, and if you go like way back into their like calendars and their feeds, you could see that they are like writing about crypto. And what I really love about their writing is that they praise good moves like from crypto companies. For example, good business-wise moves, like Gala Games partnered with Epic, which for some folks was like Gala Games is not like decentralized, and they're partnering with this like centralized entity, which is very evil, etc. And they're praising good decisions. They're also, I think, very soundly look at this space. Like, this is a great technology. How can we use it? How can we use it like to enhance classical gaming, traditional gaming, right? If you are building in your space, the Web3 space, gaming space especially, I highly recommend like using these 3 resources. To my sadness, many of the teams I work with, like game developers, even people within the entertainment that wanted to like look at the traditional space, were not familiar with this kind of sites. And what's also interesting for me is that the quality and the amount of information is of high quality, and as the saying goes, the best price is for free. Most of them are for free, and it's really interesting to see how people who are from outside our crypto bubble look at these kinds of like at crypto gaming, Web3 gaming, Web 2.5 gaming as an opportunity rather as a threat. You might know from the media. This is the summary of this section. Like, so clickbites are alive and well, to my sadness, basically. Analysts and researchers are the people to follow. Like, if you're like, don't follow like the media sites. Maybe if you're looking for a media site that has a warmer approach towards crypto venture beat. Would be the web page I would follow, but apart from that, it's rather icy cold. Novelty is a controversial thing, and I think my favorite kind of example was when Steam was released. Everybody, I think, here knows Steam. Like, if you're a gamer, you have to have a Steam account, right? And if you remember. Everything that happened around Steam, like people were, okay, we're not going to buy like digital games. Boxes are the future, are the thing. This is not what happened. Like, digital distribution is the key currently, and but it was heavily criticized when it came also by media, right? So I can see a pattern here. And in terms of the companies and in games, there are 2 perspectives. Like. What I also told you in the beginning. So these are the companies that are entering the space, and this is a feat. I think I have to give a shout out for those guys. Both of these guys are on the conference, and go and say hi to them and make business with them, definitely. But my main question was after Gamescom, was there any interest within the Gamescom's community, like outside of our crypto bubble? And these people are connected with like crypto gaming, etc. And they told me, yeah, we were in like there was lots of happening. But when I asked people who are like traditional game developers, people who like works in sales, etc., like no, we haven't seen any of the crypto. So I think that's also an interesting point to make, that you have to like either we're doing too little to be visible, or maybe the traditional gamers, traditional companies are not interested. However, as you can see on the left side, there are some companies that dabble. And my two favorite examples, maybe not favorite, but like most interesting that I would love to see how it develops in the future, are Zynga and the CCP games. So basically, why is that? If you're over 30 and like what was on the first wave of Facebook like gaming, you have to know Farmville. I don't want to raise hands because it's like coming out. I played Farmville, etc. But I think many of you played Farmville in a day, right? So Zynga has this like experience of novelty in gaming, because as you remember, Facebook gaming was not a popular thing, and it wasn't treated as a real gaming, because it was, you know, browser gaming. But what Zynga has, and what I'm pretty much interested what they will be doing with their Sugartown game, is they have great IPs in the rooster. They have great experience with user acquisition, and they have a great tradition in like user acquisition strategies, etc. And playing with novelty, right? So Facebook gaming was a niche, then it blew up, and now we have like mobile gaming, etc., etc. So this is a thing to follow, and I'm not saying that like Zynga will change the world. This will be the killer app, the platform that will bring the masses to crypto, to Web3. All I'm saying is that they might have some techniques or any other things up their sleeve that might be lucrative for the main audience, and to bring them more, and to maybe play a little bit with the mass adoption we all want, crave, right? The other example is, and this is totally geeky thing, anybody here familiar with ETH Online or played it? Okay, great. I hope you have a life, basically, because I played it and I didn't. So there's the CCP games, and ETH Online is like this massive MMO. It's in space, like space opera themed. It has a great economy, and it's in the past I used to use ETH Online as an example for, okay, you don't need crypto for gaming. ETH Online, like, it's awesome. People have some ownership over their assets. There's some money to earn. You cannot do a legal payout, but still, like, it's keeping people entertained and engaged, right? And all my arguments of this was like blown away when I just read the headline. Okay, so A16Z invested just $40 million in CCP's new game that is going to be on the blockchain. So the funny thing is that CCP has a great, in my opinion, some of my opinions may vary, they have a great experience of designing economies, keeping player engaged, but like not the mainstream player that Zynga has. So I like to think of Zynga and Sugartown and Farmville, my mom playing like mobile games, and she always tells me, I'm not a gamer, but like every day there's an hour of mobile gaming, right? And here I like to think of this like a nerd magnet that might be for the people who are heavy spenders, who are very much into the crypto space, crypto gaming, or in the gaming that you have a great economy. ETH Online is also called an Excel game, like it's a spreadsheet as a game. I think that's my favorite term. I've heard about it, and this is why it's interesting for me. It might be the nerd magnet, the spender magnet for the masses. Let's call it the niche masses that we all need within the space. And what else? Like, that's, I think, a little bit of a summary from me. That there's new perspective in gaming was always explored by developers. If you look at plateau gaming, so like first multiplayer games in the late 1970s. Also, please read about the Plato system. Highly recommended if you're into gaming history. Also, great lesson in terms of like how niche solutions became mainstream. Maybe one way for the mass adoptions will be just the normalization of Web3 elements with either SugarTown, by Zynga, or by CCP, or maybe by other backend solutions, competitive gaming, skill gaming, etc. I think the future is not set in stone. And what I also think it's very interesting is that we have a bear market, and even that we have a bear market, the bulls of gaming are building. Like, you have to admit that either Square Enix, CCP are companies that have experience, and they pretty much devoted to the space. And the thing that I told you in the beginning, the one thing I want you guys and girls, I want to remember, is that the traditional gaming companies are also trying, right? And if you're building in the space, you really should dig deeper into the research web pages. Leave Kotaku, leave like Polygon. I love those sites. I visit them every day. But like, if you want to do your research, if you want to know the space more, and if you want to like build a product that is either Web3 game or like have Web3 elements, you should look at the non-biased solutions and sources to get inspired. And you should like put them in the context. So either a context of like the Web2 games or like traditional games, etc. And without further ado, this is all from me. So it was a pretty short talk, but I'm open to questions either now or if you like catch me. I'm here till tomorrow and like maybe later. So please catch me and just talk Web3 gaming or gaming. Like, let's nerd out basically. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I have two questions, but I maybe ask them in order because they're kind of separate, I would say. So one thing is that the thing that you mentioned, that the attitude from media and from gamers themselves is very often very much anti-crypto. You might think, I mean, it depends who you talk to.
Depends on the region. Like one addition, I've noticed Asia is much more warmer towards the crypto gaming. Like, game is a game. We don't care if it's tokens or like funny money.
Actually, that plays into my question because I was wondering, do you think that, why do gamers even need to worry or care if something is running on blockchain or not? Because you might say like, even like you're using internet, there are not many fans like, oh, it's working on TCP/IP, or email is working on POP3 exact.
But there are some.
There are some, definitely, yeah. And maybe the whole narrative that that's a blockchain game, while the technology needs to be used for something, right? The whole idea that the only idea that it works on the blockchain by itself doesn't really mean much. And so I was wondering, because my second question will be about actually what it gives to you, right? But a lot of games might be using blockchain for some reasons, like trading cards, etc. But maybe this is not something that the media narrative should be about, that this is a blockchain game. This is a card game, right? If they're using blockchain or not, maybe it's not that important. And do you think that for Web3 gaming, in theory, to succeed, we actually should stop calling them Web3 gaming, blockchain gaming, and move forward with narrative of this is just a game, and maybe mention if someone is interested, this is a blockchain game, or not? Actually, that's not how you see it going forward.
I think you answered for yourself. I believe that we shouldn't. No, it's very good. It's a question that answers themselves are also cool. Basically, I believe that we should stop the narrative. But on the other hand, people are sniffing around game concepts. Like it's not an example from the from Web3, but recently there was a case. Like in the last 6 months, the developer, old people will know the Myst series. There was this developer who developed this like Myst game, very famous, and now they released, I think a couple of months ago, a game that somebody started going into the credits, and there was AI mentioned. They didn't mention it in the press release as everybody do, because AI, it's like the hottest thing now, etc. and somebody was like, making blog posts, media caught on that, ooh, it's like AI game. So we shouldn't like use the words blockchain game, etc. But people will know. So, and unfortunately, with all the things that I've showed you, the clickbaits are alive, basically. And that's the saddest thing. I think we should everybody here should focus on building, like working with distribution, which is another matter, right? And again, it all depends on the region. Like from my personal work, I see, for example, the Asian region doesn't care. Like they're very game savvy, and they just want to they want to play games. They don't care like crypto, etc. So yes, this is my answer to your first question. Can you say the second question?
Yeah. So the second question is maybe a more technical a bit.
Oh,
so
no.
no. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so the question is, so what blockchain as a distributed technology gives us is the ability to disintermediate some processes. For example, you can. So if you want to distribute a game, you're using Steam or other Epic Games, etc., other stores. In theory, because to access anything outside of blockchain, you need to centralize database where you actually check what you can download, get some information. Blockchain is the thing that gives us ability to create smart contracts on blockchain or maybe on layer 2s, where actually it's viable. So you could have, in theory, a Steam on the blockchain, which would be governed by smart contracts where people can publish their own games, obviously rating and showing the games upper and lower and higher, adding stars, comments, etc. is the problem of itself. But in theory, you could see like a lot of these shops, stores, etc. could be replaced by autonomous contracts, which wouldn't take 30% fee of your games, etc. And I'm wondering, first of all, do you think this might happen? And the other one is, do you think that established entities on the market are actually worried? I don't think they are very worried right now, but maybe they will start getting worried once we get the technology to the point that they will see that, wow, we are not necessary anymore. I mean, how do you see the future with blockchain in terms of these business people who actually are intermediating all the processes?
The future is always uncertain, so I cannot tell you how I see the future. I can tell you how I see like different versions. The first question was about the building new versions of Steam that are Steam, like Steam's for blockchain, right?
Actually, Steam on blockchain, which is not owned by any company. Okay. It's just smart contract.
I don't want to tell you how much like investment speeches I've heard and seen on Steam on blockchain. The one thing people I don't think either forget or don't know is that Steam wasn't like a sole entity that came in and like, okay, Steam was built as an add-on to Counter-Strike, and they had the whole user base.
I thought it was Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 or either Counter-Strike. Yeah, you might. I'm not an FPS person. I suck at them, basically.
I think there are orange boxes with Half-Life 2 and Steam.
But the problem is that they had a user base that they could convert. Yeah. Every game that there are some interesting projects, like there was Ultra, there was Hash Up, etc. But I don't see the killer game that would be like a magnet. So that is my answer. Like I'm not saying it's possible. It's impossible. I'm saying that it's very hard to do in terms of distribution. Also, Steam has like I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an average Joe gamer or Gene, whatever. In terms of like Steam for blockchain, I would have to like have a wallet. Of course, there are solutions like Magic, etc. After a whole day at work, and I have my Steam Deck or a computer, etc., I just want to sit down, click, and I have my library of games that like 500 titles. And blockchain makes me more of a digger and a person that has to have an effort, which is not a bad thing, but it's aimed for a very specific niche of gaming. And can you repeat the second question? Or there was
no. This was the second question you answered. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great. Do we have someone else for a question? Okay.
Hey, I just have a comment. As a game developer, publisher, I wouldn't mind actually to pay a 30% fee to get the users on board to my Web3 games.
You wouldn't mind, sorry, paying 30%?
I wouldn't mind, because think about it. We currently don't have a centralized place where all the games are. So how do we acquire users? Onboarding users is extremely expensive in the Web3, and I think this is one of the biggest problems that we are facing right now. if the users actually are starting to understand what we are selling, I think they will jump on it without question. But at this moment, it's extremely impossible due to the media, due to the bad outlash that we are getting. So 30%, I think it's fair deal at this time.
I'm not saying it is not. Like there are solutions. I don't want to name drop. Maybe I will. There's, for example, Fungies.io that you probably know if you're a developer that offer like alternatives. But I think it all comes down to maths and your actual skills. Like how can you do a spreadsheet? How much you earn from a game? You pay your team. You pay for the cost, etc. So if you're okay with 30%. And Steam doesn't ban you because Steam is not in favor of blockchain gaming, Epic Store is. I don't see the problem. Like I think gaming is gaming. I've been a gamer for like 30 years and I love gaming. I like, experimentation, new forms of gaming, etc. And if a game developer doesn't see a problem, I don't think it's a problem. But on the other hand, there's a whole, for example, region, Southeast Asia, where they are very price sensitive. The purchasing power is different. So, for example, 7% versus 30%, for those developers, it's a huge cut. So I think it all comes down to individual preferences.
Yeah, I think so. I stay in Asia for 20 years, so
okay,
I'm very good with understanding that. I think just that concept in the blockchain, as us as developers, that we are trying to, skip the fees, but we're thinking, oh, Google is bad, Apple is bad, all of them are bad, But at the end of the day, we need to do marketing, and I think we need to accept that there's a cost to it. Yeah.
Some cannot, but it's again, it depends.
Okay, one more last question. Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. It was a very nice presentation. So my question is, on your opinion as a researcher in this space, what would it take to change this narrative? And from what, let's say, platform and the kind of game it would be? Since you mentioned two games, one is more like a casual mobile one, and other one is yeah. So what's on your perspective how it's gonna be?
In the ideal world, when I would be the king of the market, I would say visual novels and indie dungeon crawlers should be the mainstream magnet. But unfortunately, I am not, and I see the market for what it is. I think the success of Axie Infinity was there for a reason, because people love trading cards, trading monsters, in-game trading, right? And in my opinion, I think what will catch on, it might be either a game that is very community oriented, so it's not a single player game, and I would put my bet on mobile or cross-platform, that it would be, and of course adding from my personal also laugh, so it would come from Japan basically, but I don't know if it will basically.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Asia.
Thank you.
And big round of applause.